Welcome to Pages with the Principal. I'm Mr. Barber, and we are going to be reading Chapter 8 of our book, Clean Getaway. Route 8 onward. At first, Scoop thinks he's dreaming. The trek back to the RV through the woods would have seemed uneventful to any casual observer. Grandma babbled about recognizing poisonous plants and berries, Scoop retaining exactly zero of what she said, and also told him Shanice had stopped by looking for him because he hasn't been answering text messages or online gaming requests. Scoop's mind was elsewhere, though. Between the stuff about Grandma's dad, what it could mean in reference to Scoop's mom, and this whole thing about making it right, Scoop barely registered eating dinner, getting ready for bed, and climbing up into his overcab bunk. In all honesty, the whole random campfire scenario made him feel like something with Grandma was off. Now, as he hears, "I'm going to fix it" for the third time, and his eyes pop open, he knows something is. "I messed up before. I know it," Grandma mutters at the dark back end of the RV. "I failed you, but I'm making it right. We're going all the way this time, and everything will be fine." Scoop stares at the ceiling, which seems lower than the previous night, his heartbeat chugging between his ears like a runaway train. He's thirsty, just like on nights when his brain is too full and he has bad dreams. He always wanders into Dad's room, and the minute he climbs into the king-sized bed, Dad gets up and comes back with a glass of water. He wishes Dad was here. Also, his arm hurts. And when he went to change the bandage today, the cut was redder than expected. Seems sort of warm now, but that's probably his imagination. Anyway, there's no chance he's going back to sleep right now, so he climbs down from the bunk as quietly as possible. He'll play one of those games on her phone where you don't have to think. He picks it up from the dash and slides into the passenger seat, presses the unlock button to illuminate the screen. There are 17 missed calls, all from Dad. Scoop punches in the unlock code, his birth date, and discovers there are also voicemails. He's tempted to listen to one, but if he does, Grandma will know, just like Dad must have that time Scoop listened to the messages from his mom. He guesses he could just delete it after, since there are 7, it looks like, but that doesn't really sit right either. Didn't Grandma just talk to Dad earlier? Why would he call so many times if they've already spoken? Grandma murmurs something incoherent, and then Scoop hears a mechanical creak as she shifts in her bed. He wants to go check on her. Wake her to let her know Dad's trying to get a hold of them. Because something's not sitting right in the gut she's always telling him to trust. But it's 3 a.m. Probably shouldn't wake a sleeping Grandma unless there's a tried and true emergency. There was one time he screamed bloody murder in her backyard because a bird had pooped on his head, and she came flying out faster than he knew she could run. Said he almost gave her a gosh darn heart attack. Maybe shouldn't do that again. He sighs. Certainly not in the mindset to play a game anymore. Not knowing what else to do, he returns the phone to the dash, then climbs back up into bed. After pulling the bunk curtain shut, he opens the small window near his head and lies face up. Lets the music of the woods outside, chirping crickets, hooting owls, wind in the leaves fill his head, and his eyes drift shut. When Scoop wakes up, he's moving. There's a bump and his entire body lifts from the mattress, definitely in motion. "Grandma?" "He has risen," she replies from beneath him. He shakes his head, though he can't help but grin. "I wasn't dead, Grandma." "Could have fooled me." "What time is it?" 11:43 a.m. Central. 11:43? Has he really been asleep for 8 hours? Scoop flips to his stomach to look out his window. Trees zip by in a blur of bright green. Where are we? The grand old city of Meridian. She breaks out in song. M-I, crooked letter, I. This makes Scoop smile. Grandma taught him that when he was maybe 3. Took him until 2nd grade to realize he was spelling Mississippi. There's breakfast down in the fridge for you, but you might as well hold off since it's darn near lunchtime. We'll stop and stretch our legs, eat at a real table, and let somebody else do the cooking and cleaning for once. Okay. Why don't you come on down and keep your old grandma company? It's lonely down here without a passenger, Jimmy. Jimmy? Which Jimmy is she referring to? It's what she calls Scoob's dad, and how she sometimes refers to G-Pop. Scoob doesn't know, but it makes him uncomfortable either way. Grandma's moaning and groaning and sleep-talking last night crash over Scoob, and now he has to get out of the bunk. It suddenly feels like the ceiling is trying to smush him. There's no way he can look at her right now, so he grabs his road map for the sake of somewhere to put his eyes just in case. "I'm William, Grandma," he says as he slides into the passenger seat. "What's that?" "You called me Jimmy." "Oh, gracious." She laughs and smacks her steering wheel. "Guess I'm having flashbacks of the last time I was in this town." This just makes Scoob more anxious. "We're going all the way this time," she said in her sleep. "Going all the way where? And why is she so determined to get there now?" Matter of fact, what did Grandma even see in G-Pop? "Grandma made you marry a criminal?" "Grandma, what made you marry a criminal?" "Say what now?" Flabbergasted. "G-Pop, I mean," Scoob goes on. "It's just, I know he got sent to prison. What would make a lady like you marry a guy who liked to steal from people?" "Who said he liked it?" "Huh?" "You asked what would make me marry a man who liked to steal. What makes you think he liked it?" Scoob's not sure what to say to that. I mean, he was convicted for a bunch of thefts, right? The corner of her mouth twitches. Yes. So? Grandma turns to him with her eyes narrowed. Is she mad? Scoob can't remember a single time he's ever made Grandma truly mad. He gulps. "Let me ask you a thing or two," she says. "Okay. Do you like fighting?" Scoob's jaw clenches. "No, ma'am." "What about computer cheating?" He sighs. "How do grown-ups always manage to flip everything back on the kid?" "I didn't cheat, Grandma." "Allow me to rephrase. Do you like helping others cheat?" Scoob doesn't reply. "Well," Grandma prods, "no, I don't." "So people don't have to enjoy the wrong they're doing to do it?" "Well, I guess not," Scoob says. "Your grandfather made some poor decisions that hurt people, your father included. But he's not the only one." Now Scoob's a little mad. "I get it, Grandma. I made some mistakes too." "I'm not talking about you, William." "You're not?" "No, I'm talking about me. I know your dad is still angry with his father. Probably will be for the rest of his life. He's great at holding a grudge. Jimmy Jr. is," Grandma says. "But there's a lot he doesn't know." This makes Scoob extra uncomfortable. But what's he supposed to say? Try telling him that. That makes Grandma laugh. "You've got his wit for sure." "Too bad I don't have his self-discipline," Scoob says with a scowl. "At least that's what he's always saying." The words ring through Scoob's heads. "You know what you need, William. Some self-discipline. Thought it would run in the blood, but I guess not." Every time Scoob hears it, he wants to say, "Being criminally minded doesn't run in the blood either, so maybe you could quit treating me like it does." By some miracle, he resisted. "He'll come around," Grandma says. "You'll see. And if not, who cares? You and me'll be on a beach in Mexico living our best lives." Scoob's inner alarm bells go off. Now all he's seeing in his head are those 17 missed calls. He clears his throat. "You, talked to him this morning? My dad, I mean." "Nope," she says. "Haven't heard a word from him since yesterday." "And he hasn't called?" "Sure hasn't. Guess he finally decided to take a chill pill," she chuckles. Speaking of chill, Scoob loses the one in his mind and feels a different one shoot down his arm. His eyes dart around the inside of the cabin in search of the phone, but it's nowhere in sight. He knows he didn't erase those missed call notifications. Surely she saw him. But why would she lie? She clicks the blinker onto exit the highway, and Scoob gulps. "So where are we headed?" "Ye old Cracker Barrel." They pull to a stop at the top of the exit ramp. And then we'll hit a store and restock our supply of victuals and beverages. And after that, you sure are full of a lot of questions today," she says as she takes a right. She turns to smile at him. It's almost sinister. "Nah, no way. It's Grandma, for goodness sake. Pull it together, Scoob." She faces back forward, but not before Scoob takes note of the scary little spark in her blue eyes. And after that, she says, onward. And that's all the time we have today. Hope you enjoyed that. Join us next time for Pages with the Principal as we read Clean Getaway.